Welcome to Mariposa Woolen Mill Needle Felting Kit Instruction. Felting is causing the fibers to intermingle and mat together, and there's a couple ways that you can do that. Wet felting is one way, which is hot water, a bit of soap, and a lot of friction. And the other way is needle felting, which I'm going to demonstrate to you. The needles that you use for felting have ridges that encourage the fibers to grab onto the other fibers, and the more that you poke it, the more that it felts. It's always best to use a surface like a foam or a rice pad to protect the needle because it's fragile and it's also very sharp. Everything you need is included in the kit, so let's get started. So once you've poked in the loose edges, then you're going to give attention to the full ball. You want to felt it down so that it's nice and firm. You rotate it around, just giving it attention all the way around. So this will take several minutes, so continue. Once you get to the desired firmness that you'd like and size of your sheep, we'll move on to the different elements. Next, we'll work on the muzzle using the black. I'll set that aside a second. Taking the roving, you want to roll it so that it has a fullness to it. So when we apply it to our ball, it will have a more 3D look to it. And so I'm just rolling it. I'm not using all of the roving because we'll need to still have the feet and the ears. So wrap it probably, let's see, 6 times. That would probably be plenty enough to have a nice muzzle. And we'll add that on first before we add the locks of hair around. Just anchoring it down the outside. We don't want to make it too flat at this point. So we're just discovering our shape of its head and muzzle. If you want to maintain that fullness, then I just go in from the side, and I think it would look better that way. Going in from the side and being very gentle, because you're just more or less creating a firmer skin. You're not pushing all of the fiber down into the ball, because at this stage it could be pushed all the way because it is quite soft. So you want to felt it basically separate from the ball so that it maintains that raised look. So when I do poke it, I'm just poking it into the black. I'm not going all the way through. And since I've already anchored it down, it shouldn't go anywhere. and just continue to do that until it's fairly firm or relatively firm in comparison to the ball itself. So we will add the ears after we've built up the hair, or the puffy part of the sheep, its fleece. You could leave it just like this. Obviously it's wool, but if you want it to be whiter in appearance, there is some fine fleece that we have added to the kit. Can be put on top, and we're just going to create little balls and just mash them together, or go around the outside anchoring it on, and we'll approach it the same way as the head. If you want to maintain the fullness, then gently poke so that it doesn't go all the way through on that top portion of the ball. Now you do need to anchor it down on the outside though. So we'll be adding many balls just like this all around the whole body. Probably not as much on the bottom, but the feet will be balls. So we'll still approach it the same way. So just continue going around, adding on the balls. So I've added a significant amount of balls, but I may add more white. But we're gonna work on adding the feet, and then we'll see if we need to fill in the gaps toward the bottom. So we're gonna handle the balls of the feet just like we did the balls of the hair on the outside. You want them to be similar, so count out your rolls. It's up to you how big you want the hooves to be. Placement. You want 2 up front, which you can see, and when you put it down, you want to be able to see the back feet too. Okay. So since I have such a large sheep, it's going to have a wide stance. Because I want its feet to be seen. You may have to work on placement and size so that they match. You want them to match so that your sheep doesn't topple over. So that I don't have to put as many balls underneath, so that it will affect the alignment of the feet and the hair. You don't want it to be too thick there. So I'm going to flatten the bottom just a bit so that the bottom doesn't interfere with the feet. And just good placement for the feet would be just make it more as much symmetrical as you can. And if you have to make adjustments, then you can. I'm just going to continue to flatten that bottom next to the feet. And if you wanted, you could have filled up this whole bottom with balls and just let it sit on the balls, and the black balls would just look like feet, but wouldn't really be where it would stand. That's up to you. Add a couple balls at the back just for aesthetic. Okay, now it's time for the ears. Using the black. I'm gonna roll it like we did the feet. Not as much. Not as many rolls. And then we're going to just poke it flat. Don't want to poke too deep because the fiber will disappear within the foam and it'll be harder to get it off, and it'll be a bit of not as smooth on the other side. So you want them to be fairly firm, and if you need to refine the edge, you can always poke from the side. Just watch your fingers. Kind of just tucking in those loose fibers. Still quite soft, so I'm going to poke a bit more, just gently. I'm not going to go too deep into the foam, just into the black, just to encourage those fibers to intermingle and tangle together. And if you can't really achieve the softness that you want on the outside, you can always just give it a little haircut. Okay, so it's fairly firm. I'm just going to set it here. So we're going to leave some softer fiber here so that we can attach it to the sheep head. So when you have fresh fibers that aren't felted, they're easier to manipulate and attach to maybe a firmer object. So if you're trying to felt a firm piece of felt to another firm, it's less likely to adhere. Okay, so that's one, and we'll repeat that. So our completed sheep. Thanks for joining me today. Hope this video was helpful. So to replenish your felting supplies, just visit us at the farm market or on our website.